What's the point of building homes for the homeless if they're not actually being used for them? That's the burning question Isabel Oakeshott has posed to Angela Rayner. Across the UK, homes meant to shelter vulnerable citizens are being allocated to house migrants instead. And guess what? These are the same homes that the system promised to prioritize for those in need. It's a situation leaving many scratching their heads in frustration. Angela Rayner's ambitious pledge to build 1.5 million new homes sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But here's the catch. When asked who these homes will actually benefit, Rayner couldn't give a straight answer. Will they go to struggling British families on the streets? Or will they be open to migrants? She avoided committing either way. Why? That's the question on everyone's mind. People are understandably angry. Homeless families watch as their hope for shelter slips further away, replaced by vague policies that fail to prioritize them. And it's not just about dodging questions, it's about trust. How can anyone believe in a plan when the key details are swept under the rug? Isabel Oakeshott isn't letting this slide. She's highlighting the cracks in Labour's promises, arguing that these policies seem more about politics than people. And she's not wrong. If these new homes aren't clearly earmarked for those most in need, then what's the point? For years, the UK has faced a crippling housing shortage. With migrant numbers on the rise, the stakes couldn't be higher. So, here's the real kicker. If Labour can't answer the straightforward question of who these homes are for, how can they expect the public to trust them on anything else? Housing allocation is already a heated debate, but there's another pressing issue adding to the chaos: illegal migration. Since Labour took charge, over 200 migrants have crossed the channel. That's more than double what anyone expected in such a short time. This isn't just a statistic, it's a massive strain on resources already stretched to the limit. And here's the twist: Labour promised to fix this. Keir Starmer vowed to stop the boat, but 5 months in, all we've seen is a total reset of their approach. What does that even mean? Instead of solutions, the public is left with more confusion. Critics argue that the surge in channel crossings reveals just how ineffective the new policies are. Starmer's leadership is under fire, and trust in Labour's immigration strategy is slipping fast. People are connecting the dots. If Labour can't control illegal crossings, what does that mean for the housing crisis? It's all connected. Every migrant who arrives needs shelter, food, and support. With the UK's resources stretched thin, questions about priorities are growing louder. And here's what's even more troubling. Labour hasn't provided a clear plan to address the rising numbers. Promises to crack down on smugglers and toughen border controls sound great on paper. But where's the action? 5 months isn't a long time, but it's enough to see whether a plan works or not. Now the public is asking, if Labour can't get a grip on migration, how will they manage everything else they've promised? With 1.5 million homes planned, will these too be overwhelmed before they're even built? It's a domino effect, and right now, every piece seems to be falling the wrong way. The cracks don't stop with housing and migration. Labour's recent decision to cancel local elections in certain counties has raised eyebrows nationwide. Why would a government, just months into its leadership, make such a drastic move? They claim it's part of a shift to regional mayors, but critics aren't buying it. It feels more like a power grab than a policy shift. What's even more puzzling is the lack of clarity. Labour hasn't offered a solid explanation for why these elections were scrapped. And here's the kicker. This decision impacts democracy itself. People in those areas no longer have a say in who represents them. That's not just controversial. It's outright alarming. Angela Rayner hasn't helped matters. Her interviews on the topic have been riddled with mistakes, wrong numbers, incorrect facts. It's all adding fuel to the fire. How can the public trust leaders who can't even get the basic details right? Each misstep chips away at Labour's credibility, leaving voters frustrated and disillusioned. The timing couldn't be worse. With public trust already shaken by the housing and migration crises, this move feels like another blow. And it begs the question, why now? If Labour can't explain their own decisions, what's really going on behind closed doors? The housing crisis, unchecked migration, and now scrapped elections. How much more can Labour handle before trust completely collapses? Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner may still believe they can turn things around, but the public isn't buying it. Promises to rebuild faith are falling flat, especially when their policies seem to create more questions than answers. In the end, the questions remain unanswered, and trust in Labour's leadership continues to erode. The intertwined crises of housing, migration, and democratic governance paint a troubling picture of a party struggling to fulfill its promises. Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer face an uphill battle to rebuild public confidence, but vague policies and inconsistent messaging are only widening the gap between their vision and the people's reality. Without clear priorities and decisive action, Labour risks alienating the very voters they aim to serve. It's no longer just about promises. It's about delivering real solutions for a nation on edge.